Sorry I'm a little late today. I had some stuff to do and then rushed to get back here, and we're here. So sorry I'm late. And I'm going to pin my topic and then invite my guest. So let's get going. Hi, Beauty. Thanks for joining. So tonight's topic is talking. Let's talk with the Black L community. Thanks everybody for joining. I'm going to pin our topic, and then I'm going to notify our guest, and we're going to get started. How's everybody's day? Give me some hearts. Give me some messages so I know everybody's here. How was your day? Let me know. Rose, I'm going to send you a request so you can hop on. And my other guest. Well, thank you for the hearts. I appreciate it. I'm so excited about our show tonight. And I'm just shushing. So don't mind me just shushing. And here, one of our guests. Hi, Rose. Which I'm going to notify right now. And just please send out all of your notifications to let everybody know that we're on live and we're getting into this topic. Hi, Rose.
Hello, how are you?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. How are you? Hi, Chrissy. Oh, you guys, I love it. Love it. Look at this. We're all got on time.
That's right.
On time.
Love it, love it. So I was just, like notifying people, letting everybody know. So notify your people, let everybody know, and then we will get into it. I put the topic at the bottom, and then we'll get into it, okay?
Mm.
So I'm just going to notify a few more people. Is that me going like this, or is that you, Rose? Can you hear? Is everything okay on your end?
Yeah, I think it's good now. Can you hear me?
What about, yeah, I can hear you. What about you, Grizzly? Are we good?
I can hear you.
You're a little dark.
I'm a little dark. Can you see me now?
Or is it? Well, not your beautiful darkness. I mean the lighting. I mean the lighting.
Lovely dark.
Not your beautiful
Lovely
skin
dark
tone.
color. Yes, lovely dark color.
It's the lighting, I think, around you. But you're good now. You're good now. You're good. And the hat was blocking the lighting, so you're good now. So I'm going to notify some people, and then you guys can introduce yourselves, and then I'll let you guys. Oops, I did the wrong thing. Okay, so let's go here. I'm doing the wrong thing. Okay. How was everybody's day? Did you enjoy the weather?
Weather was beautiful
Loving
today.
it.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't like too hot like the day before.
Yeah.
It was just a nice, like, you know what I mean, a nice cool breeze. So I'm glad to see. So I'm just, yeah, notifying. And so tonight's topic, as I put, is let's talk with the Black LGBTQ community. And I know I'm missing some letters maybe, but that's what we're here to do, is to learn and to, share our knowledge and to, so I just want to introduce myself first. I'm Kerry Wilson, and I am a behavior management consultant, and I support Black families and immigrant families coming from the Caribbean and African diaspora to help them relearn and stop, reassess, follow through. Stop. Look at this. I can't even remember my own business symptoms. Stop, evaluate, reassess, and follow through with their life. But today has been a day, boy. Today has been a day. And that's just helping families to, relearn what, the things that we have learned in our behavior, whether it be parenting, whether it be behavior, whether it be mental health, whatever is not working. I help you to come up with different ways of doing things so we can make the next generation heal so that they can move on to do bigger and better things than we have been. So that's my little spiel. And I started these Thursday night convos with Kerry to bring conversations to the Black community that we don't talk about on a regular basis. And it's a time for a non-judgmental space for us to open up and share and talk about these topics. And in a safe, my platform is a safe platform for everyone to come in and share their comments and share their opinions, and for us to go away with something, learning something new, and if not, relearning something. You know what I mean? So this is why I started the Thursday night conversations, Convos with Kerry, and I wanted you guys to be on, and I just thank you guys for coming on and sharing this topic with me, and I so appreciate it. And I pass the baton over to you guys to introduce yourselves.
Okay,
Who wants
great.
to
So,
go first?
Rose.
Want to go first?
so,
Ladies
so I guess
first.
in terms of introducing myself, like there's a lot I could say, but on this topic. So,
Just
mother
start with
of
Rose.
three.
Just start with who is Rose?
Oh my God, who's Rose? Well, Rose is was born in Jamaica. I came here when I was 10 years old. Uh, I'm a lover of playing football, as most of the world called it. I,
Soccer.
I've excelled in both in football, soccer. We'll say soccer since we're in Canada. Um, at a high school level, I got a scholarship to the University of Hartford in Connecticut, where I played professionally, three-time All-American. Um, Played internationally for Canada, professionally in Japan and Sweden.
Oh, I didn't know that,
Uh,
Rose.
yeah,
Nice.
and yeah, and came back here in to Toronto. I grew up in Windsor, so I came here in Toronto about probably 20 years ago. Um, Continued to play soccer at the highest level that was here. I have a degree in accounting. I work at a community health center where I'm the director of finance and operations. Um, and my latest passion is helping people. I mean, being specifically helping Black women get healthy and stay healthy. Um, and I still love soccer and I love to dance.
Hey,
So I have three kids. I have three kids,
what?
8, 18, and 19 and a half. And I'm married over 10 years now.
Nice, nice,
Wow.
Yeah,
nice.
but
Okay.
that's enough.
What about me? Let's see.
I'll start with your name.
I'm not good at stuff, but my name is Jay Grizzly. I'm a photographer. I'm a lover of music. I've branched off into many ventures, and currently, right now, I'm getting into the whole vlogging, social media stage, and helping others, learn about social media and whatnot. And about me, I just love everything that is art, and I'm a very much of an art lover. So anything that has to do with art, I love it. And personally, when it comes to a lot of subjects that we're going to be talking about tonight, these are things that I'm also trying to learn and continue to learn about as well. So I'm ready for it.
Hi. Thank you guys for the brief intro. And for anybody who's in the messages or who are just joining us, we are having an honest, open, and non-judgmental conversation about Black LGBTQ community. And we are open to questions, comments, be appropriate, respectful before I have to block you, remove you. And I'm sure I don't have to say that because our platform is safe. So let's just keep it going. And if you have a question, please put it in the question box and we will definitely try our best to get to it. So let's start up. Let's start start the conversation going. And I don't really per se have questions. I really want you guys to just sort of discuss or whatever you feel is needing, wanting to talk about as it's a conversation. So for me, I think let's start off with, because I know, Rose, you are parenting. You are a parent, and so and both of you actually are parents, so let's get a parent's perspective. This is parent perspective of being in the community. What do you see, do you feel that our Black community has improved from, let's say, I'll give you 20 years because I'm putting 20 years off of me. So I'll give you in the 20 years that I've been, working in the community, living and grown up in the community, do we feel that it has improved? It's still struggling, or it's still stuck in translation?
I can start off with that. I feel like for me personally, because I'm still learning and still, understanding and, you know, being more open to the subject, I feel like there's others that are still, you know, playing the old school role of, not being able to be upfront and be honest with themselves, And I feel like our community itself there's a stigma that, that you don't talk about those things. We burn out them things. Nah, it's time to talk about it because there's kids that are living in certain situations where they can't speak about it, and it's okay to speak about it. You know what I mean? And be open and honest with yourself as a parent, and be open and say, you know what, I love my child regardless. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the stigma it's changing a little bit, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And these type of conversations that we're having, like right now, it might help somebody or a parent or even someone that's going through this with that experience to learn, to learn different things or different methods and how to cope, or have someone like yourself who is a counselor that could actually, help them, and we need more platforms like this, to be speaking on these subjects.
Okay.
So is that a yes? I think we've
Yeah,
progressed, or okay,
it's
but
yes,
is it slow, or is it still?
it's
Is it creeping, or is it a jump, or is it a leap? What is it? What is it? What do we think?
It's
because
definitely creeping.
I feel like
Creeping.
it's I feel like
I would give it creeping too. I would give it creeping too. Yeah. Oh, can't hear
You know,
you, Jay.
what do you think, Rose? What do you think?
yeah, so I think it's definitely creeping, and I can talk personally about, my growing up in Jamaica. I mean, I grew up when I came here when I was 10, right? Uh, and I was adopted by my aunt and uncle when my dad passed away when I was 8. Um, and I knew that I was gay when I came out when I was 5. I knew from when I was 5.
Hmm.
But I hid it because in our culture, it's like, no, you're not that, and
Yeah,
you can't be that, and there's something wrong with you if you're that. Um,
And you already
anyways,
felt those messages at 5, Rose?
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Wow.
Like in
Okay.
Jamaica, Lord,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
yeah,
I can,
yeah,
yeah. Rethinking that
yeah,
statement. Yeah, 'cause I
yeah,
also came from the islands too. So yeah. Okay. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Um, so I eventually came out when I don't remember now, maybe in my 20s. Um, and my mother is like, "Oh, okay, so you're lesbian now." Right? That was her comment, and my dad was quiet. He didn't say
Hmm.
anything.
What
Um,
age? What age?
20.
in my 20s, I don't remember exactly,
Okay.
but I'd say in my 20s. Went to university, so yeah, I would say in my 20s.
Okay.
And yeah, so he said, like, I couldn't bring anybody in the house, and so I said, well, I guess I have to leave the house,
Mm-hmm.
right? He didn't come to my wedding, which I got married, like as I said, about 10 years ago. So that's many, many years ago after I've come out. He
Mm-hmm.
talked about he had to go and like make sure that the awnings didn't blow off in the hurricane. It's like, yeah, okay.
Wow.
So my mom was accepting, he wasn't. And I think, my mom would say, well, you can't blame him. It's the church. It's the church. It's a church that says um, it's wrong and, whatever. So I'm like, so, so that to say, so my dad, I
Hmm.
think, he never really accepted me, um, which was fine. Yeah, which is fine. Um, my mom did, and I had lots of family, friends that accepted me, and I think I was a lot happier having come out than being trapped in my body and mind, thinking that there's something wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
But then in the other case, like I go into another family of, probably the similar age, um, mother and father, and they are very accepting. I mean, again, I guess I'm not their kid, and maybe that's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you meet somebody and you get to know them, I think it's hard for you to then say, oh, I can't be friends with you because you're X or you're Y.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think going into each situation, being confident in who you are, and I think in anything in life, being confident with who you are, um, people have to accept you. But um, that said, I think in the Black community, it is taking a while for people to accept it, right?
Yeah. So how do you feel that how do you feel the treatment has differed, like from when you came out in your 20s till now, 2022? How do you feel like it has improved a little bit? Or how do you, like, would you suggest, because you said you knew from you were 5, so
Mm-hmm.
would you suggest to a young person, I think that's two-part question, how do you feel that it has progressed? Because now we're in 2022, and would
And
you
I'm 50.
what would you tell a young person who feels it from young? Do you suggest them to start opening up those conversations and with their family, even though they might feel like it may not be accepted right now?
Mm.
I think
So
I think
it's a
I would say that.
two
So I
part
think
question.
one, they'd have to like clearly make sure that that's what it is, right? And there's
Hmm.
lots of support groups outside of the community, outside of family, that's available. Like, there's the P flag, like parents of lesbian and gays of, African descent. Maybe that's not the right word, but there's lots of
Look it up
parenting
after.
groups. There's lots of groups. I mean, really, you just Google anything and you can find different groups. There's a Black support group for young youth. Black Cap, I believe, is the
Yeah,
name that
okay.
they can go to be around people like the same youth as themselves, and get support that way. And maybe, you know depending on the parents, like you just go there, and when you're ready, you tell them, and maybe you have somebody there with you when you're telling them, like, a support person.
Hmm.
um so they tend not to behave as badly when there's a support person.
When there's somebody else watching in a way.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah.
you? What about you, Jay?
For me personally, having an open dialogue was the best for my son, coming out and saying that he was transgendered. Sorry, and it was the biggest conversation. I told him I already knew. I already knew from your middle school graduation. You said you didn't want to wear a skirt, and your attitude towards girly clothes and stuff like that. And I told his mom. I said, listen, he doesn't. He's a tomboy, but I knew when he came out and he was comfortable enough to tell me. I said, you know what? I'm gonna love you regardless, and I'm not gonna judge you for your decisions. This is what you wanna. This is the lifestyle that you want to live. I'm just gonna be there to support you. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing because, like we're discussing, the Black community, we are quick to disown. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And yeah, there's a lot of good and bad within any culture. You know what I mean? So with the
TQ.
LGBTQ community, it's there's a lot of stuff that you have to learn and you have to, you know, be careful and study so you can understand and not be judgmental. You know what I mean? So for me personally, coming from I'm not gonna lie, I used to be homophobic to the core. You know what I mean? And I had to break through that chain for
Where
my
did you get that from, Jay? Where do you think you got that from? Those
it,
messages.
it was it's a generational thing. It came down from my mom, my grandma, like and to this day, I don't care what anybody thinks. My mom is more understanding now, but at first she was confused, but she understood. She understood the situation, and just like me, she had to understand and learn. You know what I mean? And break through those old way of thinking as well, right? And that's all it takes is for you to love that person, regardless of what they choose. You know, and that opens up the whole dialogue. And you ain't got to get to their personal, like their sexual, you know, interaction or anything like that. You just gotta love them for who they are. You know what I mean? And you don't ain't gotta go deep into that. You just gotta love them. Simple and plain.
And then I think as a culture, we need to understand that it's not like they're choosing,
No,
it's who
how they
they
feel.
are. It's
How,
who we are, right? It's not like you're choosing, I'm going to choose to be, you know, this. It's who they are.
and that's what I told my son. I go, listen, from when you're young, I was watching you, you know, you know, and that's us as parents. We have to start paying attention to these things, so they're not scared to come out and say anything, or they're not scared to go chase their dream or chase whoever they want to be. Because if we start judging everything they do, then they're gonna be withdrawing from us and be sneaky. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
rather be a parent that my child can come to me and talk to me about anything. You know what I'm saying? And respectfully,
Yeah.
I will give my opinion, but I won't
Mm-hmm.
push my opinion on my child. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And my opinion to the whole community is that regardless who they are, I'm going to respect you. I'm going to love you. I'm going to care for you, no matter what your decision is. And this is who you are. So why am I going to try to change you? I wouldn't want my mom to change me. I'm a straight individual, but I still wouldn't want my mom to say, oh, you can't be straight. You have to be, you know, gay or whatever the scenario is, right? I would want her to love me for who I am. And that's how I look at it.
I commend you. Yeah, as a black man, as a straight black man, I commend you because I truly know over the years, and I work in the community. I work with children and youth, black children and youth for over 20 years. You're real.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
rear, and it's really nice to see, and it shows me, it gives me that hope and that faith that, you know, we are progressing. You know what I mean? We are, because you were able to break those bondage of the generational things that were placed in your messages, that were placed in your mind, to now be able to support your child who is this is not going to be an easy world either way if they were straight, because they're black. You know, they already have that on
That's the
them. So
that's the biggest thing I had to say too. I go, you think this is a challenge? Your color of your skin is the biggest challenge right now.
yeah.
So
So
I I rather you have the umbrella over your head of support, so you can go out there to go to achieve what you gotta achieve and fight the battles that you have to battle in the future. Why worry about what you feel inside about another person or how you feel inside about you? That's who you are. Be who you are. But just know there's gonna be times when you fall. I'm gonna be there to pick you up and say, you know what? Let's go down this road. You know what I mean? So it's there needs to be, like you said, there's a few of us actually that will talk about it. And me, if you follow my Instagram or my social media, I'm not scared to talk about anything. It could be
good.
relationships, it could be jobs, it could be struggling, it could be ups and downs, it could be incarceration, it could be anything. You know what I mean? I'm willing to open that dialogue with anybody that wants to talk about it, because us talking about it right now is helping me. You know,
Mhm.
Rose about her experience, and it's making me realize, okay, it's more deeper than what people like to see. Like people don't just wake up and say, "Oh, I want to be gay today." No, know what I'm saying? So there's people that actually have a story behind it. That's what we have to start listening to, is the story, you know, and the experiences what people go through, so we can understand them. Just like how us being black people in this world and being a black individual, we have stories behind us that we don't want to be judged if we go to a job just because of our skin color. You know what I mean? And Rose, you could probably contest to this. And I have a few friends that are in the community, right? Was teaching me on one two stuff, and I don't judge them for their lifestyle, and they don't judge me for my lifestyle. But Black people in the LGBT community, they have the biggest. It's the same thing as being, straight. The community still like looks upon Black people a certain way, whether it's through pride or they're taking away certain floats or whatever it is, and telling certain organizations that they can't be a part of pride. Why? Because of our skin. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Rose, I don't know if you could touch on that experience as well, being in the community, how they frown upon us regardless.
That's true. I mean, like, I think, when people think of the majority of, when we think of people that are gay or queer, it's like white males.
Mm-hmm.
And in the queer community, it's white males that, have, I don't want to say the most say.
Mm-hmm.
And being Black, like you are kind of like a second class citizen, being queer as well, right? So it does happen there as well, right? But I think we also have a strong Black queer community, whether we have little pockets of us that give us that strength. But yeah, we're still being judged for being Black.
And I think for us, like who are still being judged, we're still being persecuted on all levels, and I think this is no different. But what I do want to just let who the new people coming in, we're talking about being Black in the LGBTQ community. Rose, can you just for new people coming in, what the LGBTQ stands for?
Oh, look at you putting me on.
I have
You
to
think I
because
know
I,
what it
I
is?
can only give you like three
A
letters
lot of
that I can
Okay,
remember.
lesbian,
Let's
gay,
all work together and
bisexual,
use our knowledge that we know. I know the L stands for lesbian,
lesbian,
gay,
gay, bisexual,
bisexual,
transgender,
transgender.
and yeah, and I think
I
there's
think
like a
I know Z.
yeah.
there's two.
Then there's
There's
more.
two
There's more.
spirited. There's two spirited now that I've
Yeah,
learned. Two
yeah.
spirited,
Two
and
spirited,
there is non-binary.
non-binary. Mm-hmm.
And audience, help us out if there's anything else that we're missing. We're all here to learn together and we already said that. T. So non-binary, and I know there's two-spirited. That is a little bit, those are newer terms to me.
Yes,
So those ones I'm still learning.
me
So
too.
anybody who knows more than me, please explain to the audience and to us what two-spirited really means. I could tell you what I looked up and what it tells me, but I really would love to hear it from, somebody who's in the community. And
Yeah,
also too, there is another one, non-binary, and is the non-binary where they don't have any attraction to, it's
Yeah,
it's open to, it's not either girl or boy.
yeah.
They're just open. Is that non-binary? Because I think
yeah.
that's
I
what
think they don't identify as
they don't
either
they don't have a
sex.
label. They don't have
Yeah.
a label.
So
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
I have a question for Rose. You've known this since you were 5 years old, right?
Yeah.
So with these new labels that are being put on the community, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's a learning thing for me as well, right? So as has been clear that I wasn't able to give you all the answers and
Yeah,
two spirited, right? So I know like two spirited, I think it's come from the indigenous community
Yeah,
that has always existed.
yeah,
And there's people in the indigenous community that has identified as two spirited. And I think for the most part, they've always been accepted, right? So now that term is coming into like whatever, like
okay.
the non indigenous community. So it's learning for me as well, right?
yeah.
Like the new names
Sure.
and
The
everything.
new
It's learning
term.
for me as
Yeah.
well.
So
And
definitely it's a learning experience. And that's why I want to have more of these conversations so that we can really get, unpacking and learning and relearning. So my other question to you, Rose, is you came up in a time where, yes, you were lesbian, you were considered lesbian. There was no Were you considered gay or lesbian?
So
Or was
lesbian.
it?
Yeah, lesbian. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
gay would
And
the term they would use for males. The
okay,
males are
okay.
gay, then females are
And
lesbians.
lesbians. Okay. But
Hmm.
isn't there overall, when we were referring, well, I know when I was growing up, when we were referring to gay, it was overall
Well,
refer.
I think that would be like the non-gay community saying,
Mm,
yeah,
Oh,
they're gay,
mm,
right?
okay.
Which encompasses everybody. And I
Okay.
think, it's probably been used that way that it represents everybody. But like, I
Hmm.
think as the individual,
Hmm.
I never referred to myself as gay. Like if I
Okay.
was saying, I would say I'm a lesbian.
okay.
Okay. And how was it I know when you came out, it was one parent kind of accepted, the other parent didn't. Does it get better with age and stage, or is it because our parents are kind of stuck in their ways that they really don't, kind of improve? What do you think is with parents that are from the older generation? Do you think that they're, kind of slowly coming along, or is it, I know somebody has said, like I've seen a lot of people have said, you kind of just leave them because you know that there's no room for change. So you just leave them and just, love them for who they are and
Right.
not worry about all of the negativity that might come with them.
Well, I've been thinking about this thing about um, other than just in this context,
Yeah.
about this whole idea about, oh, because I'm a certain age, I've always done it this way, so I can't change. And I'm like, I just called it as BS. That's
Hmm.
just BS. You just don't want to change. You don't want to learn. There's so much information that you can put in your brain to change your perspective, and it's just being stubborn and not wanting to change why people don't change,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I
So,
think.
and I think Jamaicans are very stubborn. I think.
There
I
is,
mean, and part of that is why we've been so successful in many things, right? That we're very strong with whatever we believe and
Hmm.
whatever we do. We're the best at that. I'm just going to say that out there.
Yeah.
So if we're best at saying we're not changing our mind and this is how we're staying, this is how we're staying.
Yeah.
But that needs to change.
yes,
But I think
Definitely.
it does.
that needs to
Like
change.
I used to hear this old saying, "You can't teach a old dog new
Oh,
tricks," which is, I believe that's malarkey. I believe
yeah, yeah,
because I've learned stuff at my age, which I feel like I'm an older gentleman, that maybe my little cousin taught me something that I didn't know.
yeah,
If I'm able and willing, it's all about will. Just
yeah.
whether you're
All about it.
out, whether you're going for a job, it's all about your will. If you're trying to learn something new, it's all about your willpower. If you want to learn something, then then it will happen. And
Yeah,
I feel like when we say older generation are stuck in our ways, it's just an excuse. I
Yeah.
mean, excuse for them to continue their malarkey. You know what I mean? So I feel like what Rose just said touches the subject hard because it's an excuse for people to continue down the same path of not understanding and being ignorant, you know, to the subject instead of trying to learn. Like Rose, does is your I don't know if your pops is still around you guys, but has he come around or is he still in his stuck in his way?
no, I think he's good at. So he now has dementia, so he's not really there anymore.
Okay.
Um, but up until that happened, um, he's still like pretending, you know,
Mm,
pretending, which is fine. I could just go along with it. And as you get older, like you leave your parents' house, you don't need their approval. You
well,
don't, and so for me, it's just like, yeah, he is who he is, and that's not going to change,
yeah.
and that's fine
And,
because I can move on with my life. Different than if like I was living under their house, under their home, in their house. It's a lot more challenging when like your parents aren't accepting.
and the one thing I say, you like, especially with family members and friends, some people are not meant to be in your life. You can love them from afar as well. They don't have to be in your day to day life. You can still love them,
Yeah,
but from a distance. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Yep, I agree with that 100%.
I mean,
I'm
Like
gonna throw
negative
up.
people with negative stuff.
yeah,
I don't care if you're family.
way
Like
over there.
I'm not. You're minimized in my energy level. You know, my space and time.
And I
I
appreciate.
think we're getting better. We're getting better at that. We're really getting better at understanding toxicity and really removing it, hopefully removing it from our minds, our spirit, our souls. So I do
Mm-hmm.
feel like because there's so much conversation about toxic relationship, toxic people, toxic masculinity, and, so I think all these conversations are coming up. So I think we're getting better at, like you said, you can love them from afar. You don't have to have them in your life. Now, I'm going to throw out some things that I've grown up with, what I hear in the community still, in the Black community, and I just want to hear what you guys think or how it makes you feel or whatever you want to put towards this. So
No,
now,
no, no pressure
Rose,
on.
you are,
Sorry,
yeah, go ahead.
no pressure on Rose, but I have one of those throw out questions as well. I want to learn.
Okay,
Want to learn.
okay, okay. She's the
Okay.
guru right now. The lesbian guru, everything lesbian is Rose right now.
Lesbian guru.
Hi. Thank you for joining Abstract. We are talking about the Black community, the Black LGBTQ community. Please feel free to ask questions, put in the question box, comments. We're welcome. We're just having a conversation. Whatever you want to share, please share. So a question is, Jay has a question. Go ahead, Jay, and then I'll throw my questions in.
Okay, so within the community, I used to hear from friends that were lesbian that they didn't like bisexuals because they're playing both sides of the fence. How is that now as everything progressed in the community? Like how is it, is it still like that from back in the day? Is the is
I mean, I think so. Again, all of this is my perspective, right? Because
Yeah.
like I can't speak for a whole community really, but I think yes, I think that was a thing.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, you can't decide, you know, which side to be on. I think that's still there for the most part, and even the introduction of the new um, types of being,
Yeah.
right? Um, there's judgment in the I'm going to say queer community. That's another umbrella word
Okay.
um, for people who are not lesbian or who do not identify as lesbian or a gay man.
Mm.
So there is
So
that inner.
it's expanded then. It's gotten even worse then.
I would say it's gotten worse, and I think maybe the original OGs,
Yeah.
like lesbians and gay, be like, "What is this?" Just like decide which way you are, right? Decide. Not this all this
Yeah.
different things they and you know, um,
And them, and
uh,
yeah,
and
yeah.
them and all that stuff.
And
So.
and then that right there, Rose, leaves it open for again the judgment to come because it's when you say you were born this way, and then there is all these different terms that are coming about newly, and then it's choices. It kind of contradicts it, and that leaves it gives it room for Black people to be like, really, you're choosing this is, you know what I mean, because
Mm-hmm,
of all this. And again, I'm
mm-hmm,
being devil's advocate in a sense where I'm talking doesn't mean this is my views, this is me
mm-hmm.
speaking for the people.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's where we can definitely start to have these conversations. And what I want to throw out is for you being a lesbian, and now you have children, you're married to a woman. um a lot of the stereotypes, or a lot of the messages that we are your children, you're going to make your children great. You're going
Mm-hmm,
to, because they see this, that's what they're going to do. That's what they're
mm-hmm,
going to choose. And I
mm-hmm,
want to really, and for you, Jay, who, that could be the same for you in a sense. Like they could be like judging you saying, where is this coming from? You
mm-hmm,
know, how
mm-hmm,
is it? Is it because of the world today? Why your child is choosing this? So
Is the
I'm just throwing that out there so that we could start to unpack those negative connotations. You know what I mean? So there you go. What does that bring up when I say those comments?
As a father, like I really don't like me personally because I'm a very strong individual in myself. I don't care what people think. Like even down to my mom, I said, "Yo, it's either you understand or we separate from each other." And she had to, like, I love her, like I raised her, like she raised me, like I love her to death. But at the same time, I'm also raising a child that, you know, it has the same bloodline as you. So it's either you accept it or we separate ourselves. So you saying those stuff, it really touches me because sometimes we especially with it doesn't even have to be black community. You understand? It just has to be a human in general. People got to stop worrying about what other people think and just let everybody be who they want to be. If they want to make their choice of being this person or they want to go down this career path, just let them be that person. You know what I mean? And we as parents, we have to. This is what I learned. Even not even as a parent, just an individual. I can't control no one else. I only can control my actions. You know what I'm saying? I can't.
Mhm.
Okay, if I had a girlfriend, oh, you can't go out, you can't do this. No, that's not how things go. You know what I'm saying? You can suggest, yo, listen, you've been going on a little too much. I see the path that you're going on. I've seen where you come from. You've gone you came down this road and you're becoming better. And I know your habits. You can learn how to talk to people. And that's the thing that I had to learn. How to talk to my child, how to, guide my child. Don't force our personal opinions onto them. Because forcing your opinion on your child, it only makes them want to rebel and push away. You know what I'm saying? Yes, they might take a 1, 2 stuff that they learn, but at the same time, they're human. They're gonna make their mistakes. They're gonna learn. They're gonna fall. Then you're gonna be there to pick them up. Simple and plain. So that's how I look at it. You just got to be able to let people be who they want to be. I go
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think so. The fact that there's new terminology, right? I mean, really, it's just the it's. I think that's the things evolving,
Mm.
right? And people feeling freer to define themselves as how they feel they are, right? So I think that's where all the new terminology is coming from, because I think there's more freedom. People are in general more accepting, so then you can evolve in a way. I think people who don't really agree with the whole LGBTQ thing will use this as an excuse to say, yeah, see, they can't even decide what they are. And now they're one term, and then there's some other term. And what is this business about they, them, and she, he business, right? So I think that's just an excuse because they don't agree with it.
Yeah, it's just an excuse.
So
Right.
what do you,
And not being open enough to wrap your mind around, yeah, this is a different term. This is a different era. People can choose to just find themselves how they feel fits them best.
so I have a question for you, Jay, from Real Cute Girl. As a father of a trans child, what supports did he connect with, and what supports did you find for your child? Oh, that's a great question. Thanks. Oh, there you go. Jay's already starting. Go ahead. Oh,
That
can't
that's.
hear you, Jay.
Can you hear me
Okay, go
now?
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
That's a beautiful question. Thank you, real cute girl. For me personally, it was being able to communicate. Like I said, I'm going to keep going back to communication with your child was a very big thing. So if he wanted more help, I would get that. And I asked him, do you need any counseling? Do you need to talk to someone other than us? He said, no, you guys are okay with the lifestyle that I live, and I appreciate that. So, but if a child is having, struggles with himself and needs more help, I would suggest either talking to a family counselor, you know, such as the host, you know what I'm saying, and so as and even school. I know a lot of people have a stigma around school and the the educational system. I feel like I could go to the school and they could push me to certain things and certain directions where I can take my child and say, you know what? Okay, I know this counselor. Okay, boom, I can take this number down and go over there, right? And but for my child, to be honest, I'm only speaking from my view. I didn't have to go that route because I was supported. You know, if a child is having certain other issues that are affecting them mentally and they're having troubles, I would say seek professional help, right? So that would be the best bet, or talk to someone that's in the community that's been in the community like Rose, if they are open to help. You know what I mean?
Do you
Right?
have
Yeah,
any that I
they
think
are.
that's good. Yeah, and I think that's excellent. Like it's so nice that your child felt so comfortable where they don't need any extra person. And I would be the one to come in and support that by you know what Rose, like Rose saying, bring somebody along with you to help you to talk about it. That's where I would come in. I'm not a counselor by trade, but I am definitely a person who's able to support families in their healing and their growth and their process. So definitely, I think that is a great. But let's dig a little bit deeper into this because I think it is, like I said, very amazing to see a black man. Oh, he's going to come on back. A black man who, you know, is open to the community and who's willing to share not only his experience but his knowledge and his business. So I really appreciate. Yeah, we're going to accept Jay back on and I'll save that for when he comes back on. But for you, Rose, I want to tackle a little bit about how do you go about people, naysayers, saying that because you are gay, you're going to raise your children gay. Like, I want to hear that perspective and how do you go about like do you go deliberately kind of trying to break down and have conversations, or do you just focus on the conversation or the I want to say the community that you build within your household? So the
So,
messages that you give. So how do you?
so I haven't had that said to me directly.
Of course not.
Um,
They're not going to say it to you directly.
but if they were to say it, and I know that that's maybe probably something that people think about, I don't really care actually what they think. That's the reality. I don't really care because I know that's not the reality and that's not the truth. Um, my kids are probably more, and you'll find I think um, kids that grow up. I think there's some study that kids that grow up in queer families actually are more open to life in general. They're more open to learning and being more accepting of people that are different because that's just the mentality that we're more open. So they're going to succeed even better because they also have that welcoming, supportive um,
Compassion.
mindset. You know,
Yeah.
uh, so that doesn't bother me at all.
That's Rose. Have you always felt like that, or is that something that you have had to really work on?
I mean, no, I think even for myself, I think once I finally decide to come out, so even like growing my hair dreads, right? So I
Hmm.
have dreads. These are not, even though they look nice and pretty like this, they're actually dreads,
Yeah.
right? Um, and I didn't want to grow dreads for the longest time because again, this is looked down upon.
Hmm.
The Rasta man is looked down upon. My aunt actually disowned her daughter because she became a Rasta,
Yep.
right? So I didn't want to have dreads for the longest time, and when I finally did, it's like, oh my god, this is like I feel so free and happy.
Yep.
Like I come into myself, and it's like, no, nobody's gonna tell me what to do or what not to do.
That's great. Real Cool Girl says, thank you, thanks. And your son has an amazing father who is so supportive and understanding of his child's transition.
Yeah.
Forever Disciple, which is my eldest son, says, do both speakers feel that TV shows negatively affect the LGBTQ community? Good question, Jay. Good question. That's my eldest.
good question. That is a good question.
I think there's, I mean, watching, you wouldn't see stuff way back when. Again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm 50, so like 50 years, I can't believe. Anyways, um, like 30 years ago, it was very, like, you didn't see it, or if it was, it
Mm-hmm.
was very negative. I think there's a lot of programs on now that are very pro. I mean, what was that one, with all the women that became so popular, right? So I think it's a lot more accepting and kind of cool.
The L word, the L
The
word.
L word, like, yes, the L word, right? That was like a great program that like kind of like threw like gay and lesbian stuff all over
Yeah.
the world, and lots of people loved watching it. So there's I think there's more positivity on TV than negativity around lesbian, gay, bisexual stuff.
Mhm.
Do you guys feel that because I know it's said it out there that the more that they expose our children to on TV, cartoons, everything about the LGBTQ community, that it is going to steer them that way, like it's going to yeah. And I know we've heard that, and we've heard that in regards to the curriculum, the school curriculum, also with all of the TV shows that are bringing in LGBTQ community actors and actresses, and you know what I mean, transgendered. I know I love The Shy, and The Shy has a lot of those messages, or a lot of those different from the LGBT Black community. The Shy is a Black show, so all Black cast. Love it, love it, love it. So yeah, so this is why I'm just like, what do you think when those messages are being given, like that we're going to sway them? We're going to, it should be only the parents' right to expose their child to those things. For example, the parade, so what do you think? It's going to lead to pedophilia, all those things.
So, of
What,
course, that's just
Listen,
foolishness, really. That's
ignorance?
just foolishness.
like when it comes to the school curriculum teaching our kids certain things and lowering the age of certain, learning about their body and stuff like that. I personally, this is my belief, and I'm not trying to offend nobody. I believe when it comes to like sexual orientation and sexual intercourse, there's two different things. And the reason why I say that is because when you're having kids at that age shouldn't be learning about those stuff unless their parents introduce them to that. That's what I believe. And I believe, you know, respectfully, if they're going to a school that has a certain age limit, or consent where they can talk about it. And that's another thing parents have to realize too, that the school curriculum, your child is going to a public school or a private school, or whatever it is, you have to be able to understand that they're going to learn these things regardless. You know what I mean? And that's why I told my kids from time, private parts, nobody should be touching you there. You know, it comes from, it starts from the home. That's what I believe. And when people say, "Oh, the school curriculum, this and that," and talk about shows or influence our kids, and yes, you know, social media influence on anybody. You know what I'm saying? So whether you're watching TV or anything on the box, right, is going to influence you, or you're going to have some type of thought about it, which is okay to have thoughts about those things, because we're humans. We're geared to learn and understand certain things. But the age gap, me personally, I believe that certain intercourse, like sexual intercourse, I believe I should be able to talk to my child about those things before a school just randomly talks about it. You know what I mean? So that's my belief. But orientation, yeah, you can talk it up at any age. It could be,
But I think with everything though, sexual orientation or um, information about your body or
yeah,
intercourse, I
yeah,
think all of that needs to be age appropriate, right? So
yes, exactly.
so it has to be geared, and that's going to be different people have different comfort level with
Yes.
what's age appropriate, right?
Yeah.
That, that
Because
kid,
we know kids are being molested younger and younger, and so they need to know that people can't touch them or do certain things with them.
Yeah.
Uh,
and, that,
you
and
know, yeah.
that's why we as parents and educators as well, and people who have guardianship of over
Oversee.
oversee of a child, we have to understand these things, that we have to teach them that, okay, this is not okay if somebody's doing this. Whether it's a kid at school, it's still not okay. Whether it's a teacher or a pastor, or it could be a stranger, it's not okay. And
I,
that's what.
I
Go
think for me in working it with kids and with youth and families, and I think what I would like it more to focus on is that it's not just about the act.
Yeah,
That it comes with more, it's emotions behind it. It's maturity level, it's emotional intelligence that is
right.
attached to it. And I think that's what we focus so much on the names and the, the labels but we're not focusing more on being emotionally ready for all of this. Even the
Yeah,
conversation, being emotionally ready for the conversation of having it. Just because it needs to be had doesn't mean that it needs to be had at this age or this stage, that stage. And it could be, and again, these are why these conversations need to happen, because we need to be starting to figure out how we're going to do this and how we're going to, break down these stigmas of the fact that people say that, if they're introduced at any ages and stages about the LGBTQ community, that they're going to be influenced and they're going to be swayed. And I think it's also too, and I think we have to touch on this a little bit. It is religion. It is also a big part of,
100% religion.
yeah,
That's where it's coming
religion.
from, it's
that's
driving from,
another
is
topic.
religion.
That's a,
Religion is a big part of in the Black community that kind of keeps us and hold us into shackles of negative thinking and negative connotation towards things. And I'm not saying that we have to be all accepting and we all have to have the same views and the same acceptance level, but I do think that we have to have an open mind to listen, to at least
there.
listen. How you go with it after that, or how you take it after that, is all up to you. But to listen and to learn, I think is what we should all be open to. Not, again,
No
not
matter how
leaving.
old you are.
Yeah, because
Yeah, exactly. Not, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
how old you are, because what I mean, I've been in this field for a long time, but doesn't mean that I don't learn something new every day. Like, I'm learning even things that I thought that I knew. TikTok is really opening my eyes to a lot of things that I was like, oh shit. Like, oh, I didn't know that.
yeah,
Or, kind of rethinking, okay, what I mean? So I think that is the big piece that I want us to, continue to have these conversations. My next part to this will be bringing on young people and having them discuss, their views and their feelings on this, that are part of the Black LGBTQ community, because their voice is necessary to be heard as well. And if we cannot, the only thing that I think that we can come away from, or we could even have, is to love your child, love your partner, love your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, whoever is going in this community that is going through these changes, or have chosen, I don't know, whatever language you want to use attached to it, is to have, like, to be
yeah.
open, respectful, and to love. Like, I don't think there's any reason that you should just dash away your child, or dash away a relationship, because of what they do behind closed doors. Like, that I think is more about